I haven't made a video in over a month, and I just want to say that I'm sorry about that. I feel compelled to say that I'm sorry because of the immense privilege I feel for being able to do what I do in order to pay my rent. I need to say sorry because I play video games for a living. I play video games for a living. And that's an incredibly bizarre thing to say, and it's something that I still haven't quite gotten over. It's one of those very, very simple sentences that perplexes and confuses everybody, including my own parents, who have explained the business of how this works I don't know how many thousands of times at this point. It's one of those dream jobs for young kids that, grow up watching YouTube, who want nothing more than to be a YouTuber when they grow up themselves. And it is really strange that any of this is possible in the age of the internet. It is very strange to me that this is a career option, that many people have created very, very lucrative, lavish lifestyles for themselves doing a version of this. So I feel compelled to say that I'm sorry because I understand that without you, none of this would have been possible. I wouldn't be doing this as a job. And the least I can do for you is to repay the faith that you put in me by making content and releasing it on a timely manner. So instead of just saying sorry and leaving it at that and promising to do better, I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to talk about what's been happening and why we've just gone over a month without releasing a video on the channel. By the way, this video is completely unscripted. It's from the heart. I have some notes here just to keep my thoughts structured, but this video is gonna lack a lot of the polish that you're used to. This one's gonna be a bit more, quote, real. So, the catalyst for all this was the State of the Meta video, which we released a month ago. And in many respects, that video was lightning in a bottle for this channel. It had a great view count. It had amazing average watch duration. It made a lot of money. Like, there was a great CPM count on that. And basically the comments and everything that encapsulated the media experience of watching that and then, interacting with it, it was everything I could have asked for. People loved the video. People had suggestions as to how it could be better. There was some constructive criticism that wasn't particularly nasty. And it actually genuinely helped me to read that criticism to make the next video better. Basically, everything about it, I was like, yeah, this is how it should be. This should be the new standard for me. This is how my community should interact with it. This is the kind of views I want. This is the kind of money I want to make from it. This is and then this is how in depth I want to be about it. And this is how I want to deliver the information. And this is the kind of subject matter that I like watching and interacting with. So I want to make videos like this moving forward. But the creative process of making State of the Meta is not what I would call in a million years a sustainable way to make videos, because it wasn't just me making that video. Obviously I have an editor and she was fantastic through it, but there was a lot of back and forth because it was such a long video and it took a long time to make. We left out exotics on purpose because they are meta breaking for very obvious reasons. I said, hey, if you're interested in an exotic specific video dedicated to just talking about exotics, let's make that a separate video. And predictably, a lot of you were like, yes, I would love that kind of video. I would love to hear you rant about exotics and tell me how bad Graviton Lance actually is. And you know what? I had a great time ranting about Graviton Lance in the script. I really did. But the process of recreating Lightning in a Bottle, specifically for this video, was arduous, and it really broke me mentally, because leaving aside exotic heavy weapons, which are virtually untestable in a reasonable amount of time, you still had 30 kinetics and 30 specials to go through. You still had a lot of weapons to test and to figure out whether they were good or bad, if they were worth using or just disregarding entirely. There was a lot of footage to be gathered, and in the process of testing every single exotic weapon, I don't know if you've actually gone through the process of trying to make every exotic work in the Crucible, but it really tests you as a player. You might be the best player in the world, but good luck trying to use Fighting Lion well. Good luck with Skyburner's Oath. leaving aside whether exotics are good or bad, it was just the fact that I had to learn how to play 30 pretty much different playstyles, 30 to 40 different playstyles to encompass about 60 different weapons. And once that video comes out, I will definitely talk about that, and I'll be taking into account how much of a playstyle adjustment it was in order to make an exotic play well, instead of just talking about its strengths and weaknesses. But that takes a lot out of you. And it took a lot out of me, but I was okay with it because fundamentally I was improving as a player because I was learning how to play Crucible in a different way. The problem was that learning process had to be done over and over and over again. And before I knew it, 3 weeks had passed before I looked at my footage folder, which was 50 gigs at the time, and I only had 45 out of the 60 weapons. And at that point, I started to lose it. I started to feel burned out. Because YouTube is incredibly momentum heavy. You cannot have a really great video and not follow it up, even with a mediocre video. You know, you need to release something. But I didn't. And I was so hell-bent on making this video because I knew it would be great. I wanted to make this video better than anything else. In doing so, I lost sight of the bigger picture. It was 3 weeks of gathering footage, testing footage, on stream, off stream, on the weekends, during my days off. What made it worse, obviously, was the fact that Crucible is basically on life support right now, so it wasn't a fun thing to do. But I knew that this video would do well, so I shut up and put up with it. And I lost the drive to continue. So that was 3 weeks from the State of Meta video, and then for the last 2 weeks, I've just been reflecting. I've had it off. And in this period of reflection over the last 2 weeks, I just kept coming back to one question. Why? Why did I allow myself to do this to myself? The one answer that I keep coming back to, more than any other answer, and this is going to sound really bad, but I have to be honest with you guys, is the numbers. The numbers are very important to me. They are too important because the numbers are data, and interpreting data well is the key to understanding anything. I'll make it clear that I love what I do. And I would do it anyways, even if I wasn't doing this for a living. I have proof of that. I did that. But now, with access to the data and learning how to read the data and looking at the trends, talking to creator friends, all of that, like really being a full-time creator, really diving into the data behind YouTube and what makes a successful video, I was really starting to understand it. I really started to get it. What you may not realize is that the State of the Meta video was a very calculated bet that paid off. I manufactured its every success. I wrote it a specific way. The content matter was a very specific thing. The edit was very particular. The music was particular. The perversion of the tier list formula was very particular. I finally created a video I knew would do well. And because of that, because I created something that people resounded with, and I wasn't just creating something and hoping that the algorithm would do the rest. No, I created something very, very tailored. I created a good product. It's like I created the world's best sandwich or something. You know, it resulted in the numbers that I wanted to see. The kind of numbers that would make this channel spark and take off. And not just be, we'll see how this goes thing, but it would be a guaranteed, this is happening thing. And this is like, that is the kind of thing that the very best creators do. Like someone I watch every day is Linus Tech Tips. And I watch all their tertiary channels as well, secondary, tertiary channels as well. And every single video gets over 1 million views. And I know that's, okay, they have, 14 million subscribers or something at a point, so the numbers all work out. But they've had 1 million views per video for a very, very long time. And that's not on accident. They have teams of people working on this stuff. They know how to create a solid product that people can depend upon. When you go to Linus Tech Tips, you know what you're getting. And when you come to my channel, you don't know what you're getting. Maybe that's part of the appeal. But when it comes to mass appeal, when it comes to growing on YouTube, you need to define who you are to these people. You need to define who you are on this platform. And I haven't really done that. So I decided to. That was what State of the Meta video was going to be about. That was my portfolio piece. This is my entrance, my grand entrance. It was like, look, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is why you should pay attention. And I was really excited that it worked. obviously the data doesn't lie, but you never really know until you press the upload button and you see the numbers work in your favor. You never really know until it happens. And I was so stoked that it worked. I was so stoked that we made a calculated bet that worked. And I wanted to do it again. Because I found a growth driver. I found the nail I needed to hit on the head. The right nail explodes a channel to make it bigger than it ever has been before. And we see this time and again, it's usually lots of small channels have a consistent body of work. A couple of hits there, a couple of duds there. You know, it's the process. But then they have that one video or those two videos or those three videos that just outperform the previous 10. And then they just never look back. And I was well primed to do that, but I messed it up. But look, all of that is a side effect. Numbers are just a side effect of the main cause. And when I dug a little deeper, when I was asking myself these questions, when I was reflecting, why did I care about the numbers? Why do I care about this? To the point where I lose myself creatively in a project that I can't come back from. And the answer is that I'm turning 30. And my life priorities are becoming more defined by the day. I live with my wonderful significant other, and I hope that I can, pop the question soon and make her my fiance, and then hopefully my wife. And I want to start figuring out where we're going to settle down for the next period of our lives. I want to create roots that would help us start a family. And up until very recently, up until this year basically, I was doing the definition of f***ing around and finding out. I did so many different things. I worked for companies, I was freelance, I did a bit of YouTube, and out of all of it, out of every single thing that I've done, working in film, working in television, working in theatre, working in advertising, working in a bank, working as a production assistant for the CBC, YouTube is the most creatively fulfilling avenue I've ever tried. I've been doing this on and off since I was 16, but I've only really been doing this seriously for the last 2 years. Deep down inside, I think I've always wanted to do something like this. Whether it was YouTube or something else, but I knew I wanted to make videos for a living. And the fact is, ever since I made the decision to go full-time, I always envisioned a future where I could provide for my family, for my, to make sure everything's okay, for my wife, for my children to be through YouTube, through you, through this community. Nothing makes me happier than the idea of being able to be able to do that, to provide for my family through YouTube. And I want this to be the way that I succeed. I want to build this channel properly, but to do that, I have to do everything in my power to succeed. And that means looking at the numbers, looking at the trends, fostering a great community here on YouTube, on Discord, on Twitch, on Twitter, wherever, being active on multiple platforms, basically being around you, being in your consciousness, and creating content that matters, creating the best content that I can. But none of it matters if I'm not there for myself. And the big takeaway that I've learned from this is that I cannot sacrifice I cannot sacrifice my mental health for content. I cannot sacrifice my mental health for the sake of the bigger picture. It cannot work that way. I am my content and my content is me. There is no delineation here. They are one and the same. I don't know if that's healthy, but it's the only way I know how right now. I'm sorry if the end of this video has gone a little bit off-piste. I do apologize. But the big thing is I am feeling better now. I talked to some of my fellow creators and they gave me some perspective on, this process, because it feels like this is something that every new creator goes through. And also what's helped my mood greatly is just the release of Halo Infinite. I've been having a blast with that. It's very much the classic Halo that I know and love. Now I'm ready to come back and make some more content soon-ish. We'll see. I'm not going to put any dates on anything. That exotic video will happen at some point. But I just want to finish this video by saying that I will never lose sight of the fact that what I do is utterly ridiculous. Like, this is a stupid job. This doesn't make sense. There are doctors, there are lawyers, there are business people, there are creators, there are politicians, there are cameramen, there are chefs, there are a million different jobs more important than the one that I've chosen and the one that you all put up with for some reason. But I appreciate it, and I am very grateful. So whilst I'm still able to, I will do what I need to in order to maximize this rare opportunity, because this is not a life that many people are given. But you all gave this to me, and I do not want to throw away your faith. Thank you for staying, and thank you for listening to this video. I'll get out of your hair now. Cheers.